She knocked on his door. The rain wouldn't stop. The city was quiet, broken, and full of shadows. Tall buildings stood like dead trees. Neon signs flickered but gave no warmth. Trash floated on the wet streets. No one walked here anymore except her. Alia moved slowly through the dark alleys, her clothes torn, her body shaking. She held her side. It hurt to breathe. Blood mixed with rain on her skin. She was running, not from a person, from a system, from something worse than death. For hours, she had walked without rest. Her feet were numb, and her eyes heavy, but she couldn't stop. They were still searching for her. Then she saw it. A strange building. Unlike the others, it looked clean. The lights were soft, not harsh. Felt safe. Or at least safer than outside. She walked up the metal steps, her knees weak. She raised her hand, then knocked. For a moment there was silence. Then the door opened. A man stood there, tall and still. He wore a long coat. His face was half covered by a shadow, but his eyes were strange, cold, gray, and glowing faintly blue. Alia looked up at him. Her voice was almost gone, but she forced the words out. "I have no credits," she said, shaking. "But I can offer myself. Just let me stay tonight, please." The man didn't answer right away. He just looked at her. Not in the way other men did. His eyes didn't move up or down her body. They just stared, like they were searching for something deeper. Then slowly he stepped aside. Without a word, Alia stepped in. The door closed behind her. Inside it was warm, clean, too clean. No smell, no dust, just silence. She looked around. The walls were metal but smooth. There were machines she didn't recognize. One small orb floated in the corner, glowing softly, pulsed like a heartbeat. The man walked past her. He moved quietly, like a ghost. He opened a box and pulled out a soft gray blanket. Then he walked back and handed it to her. "Sit. Rest first," he said. His voice was calm, deep. Alia didn't know what to say. She held the blanket close and sat on a low bench. He returned with a warm drink. Something simple. No questions asked. She drank. Her hands still shook. But her heart began to slow down. "Why?" she asked finally. "Why are you helping me?" The man didn't look at her. He stood near a screen, watching it as symbols flashed across. "I don't like noise," he said. "You were making too much noise outside." That was it. No kindness in his voice. No warmth. But somehow she felt safe. As she lay back, her eyes grew heavy. Her body couldn't fight anymore. The warmth of the blanket, the soft hum of the machines, the silence. It pulled her into sleep. But just before she lost consciousness, she saw something strange. The orb in the corner moved. It floated quietly toward her, its light brighter now. A small beam scanned across her face, then her chest. She wanted to speak, but her mouth wouldn't open. Then, she heard the man's voice. Low, almost a whisper. "She's one of them." Darkness. Alia dreamed of fire. Buildings falling. People screaming. A bright white light. Then silence. She opened her eyes. The room was dark now. No rain outside. No sound. Only the soft hum of machines. She sat up quickly. Her side, where it had been bleeding, was no longer in pain. She looked down. Her shirt was still torn, but the wound was gone. Not even a scar. She froze. How? Then she remembered the orb. The light. The scan. She looked around. The orb was gone. Instead, Dale sat in the corner, silent, still, eyes glowing faint blue, watching her. "You healed me," she said softly. He didn't respond right away. "That's not normal tech," she added. "Who are you?" He stood up, slow and steady. "I should be asking you that." His voice was calm, but firm, controlled. "You said you had nothing, no credits. But your body carries military biocode, enhanced cells, smart blood." Alia's heart skipped. "I'm not military," she said quickly. "I didn't choose this." He stepped closer. "Then what are you?" She didn't answer. How could she? She barely remembered the full truth herself. Flashes came and went. Needles, wires, bright rooms, people in white coats. Running. Always running. She closed her eyes. I'm just trying to survive. Dale didn't move. He watched her like a machine calculating a puzzle. Then he turned away. I've seen your type before, he said. During the Grey War, they were called subjects. Not soldiers. Not human enough for rights. Not machine enough to control. So they erased them. He walked to a wall panel and pressed something. A small screen flipped out, showing a blueprint of a human body, her body. You carry nanotech older than this city, he said. Illegal. Banned. But alive. That's why they're hunting you. Alia stood up, wrapping the blanket around herself. You scanned me. You entered my space, he replied flatly. My system scans everything. Her voice shook. So what now? You turn me in. No, he said simply. She blinked. Why not? He stared at her for a moment, then said quietly, because last time, I followed orders, and someone like you died. The silence stretched. Alia sat back down. For the first time, Dale seemed human, not just cold metal and war memories. I don't even know who I am anymore, she whispered. You're subject 09, he said, marked for deletion. But somehow you escaped. How do you know that? He tapped the screen. I saw your code. It's not just military. It's unique. You were designed to interface with deep systems, city cores, defense grids, even people. Your blood carries more than healing. It carries control. She looked at him, eyes wide. Control what? Everything, he said. She stood again, shaking her head. That's not me. I don't want any of that. I didn't choose it. No, Dale said. But it chose you. Just then, a sharp beep echoed through the room. A red light flashed on the wall. Dale turned sharply. He pressed a button. On the screen, a small drone hovered above the building. Scanning. They found you, he said. No, she said. They found us. He looked at her. Then, without speaking, he pressed another panel. A hidden door opened on the floor. Come with me, he said. Now. Alia didn't move. Why are you helping me? She asked again. Dale paused at the stairs. Because once, someone like you knocked on my door. He looked back at her, voice low. And I didn't open it in time. They came before the sun. Silent. Precise. Like they had been waiting all night for the perfect second to strike. But Dale was already awake. He stood in his hidden basement, staring at the old steel wall. His hand rested on a rusted switch. The lights flickered above him, reacting to distant signals in the sky. Upstairs, Alia slept curled in the blanket. Peaceful, but not safe. Dale turned to an old case in the corner. He opened it slowly. Inside, a worn-down rifle, half disassembled, a metal badge, and a photograph faded with age of a girl who looked like Alia. He picked up the photo, stared for a moment, then set it down gently. It's happening again, he muttered. Above the roof, the sky split open with soft humming. Drones, sleek, silver, and deadly, moved in formation. Their lights were off. They didn't need light to hunt. Inside, Dale walked up the hidden stairs and into the main room. Alia was awake now. She sat with her knees to her chest, eyes wide. I heard something, she whispered. I know, he said. They're here. He pulled a metal rod from behind the wall. It shifted in his hand, transforming into a short-range energy staff. Simple, quiet, not for killing, just buying time. Go to the basement, he ordered. No, she said. I can help. You're not ready. Alia opened her mouth to argue. But then, the window flashed white. A voice, cold and robotic, echoed from outside. Subject 09 detected. Surrender now. No violence will be used if you comply. Alia's heart pounded. That voice. She'd heard it before, years ago, in the lab where she was born. Don't answer them, Dale said. Stay down. Don't move. No sound. He pressed a button on the floor. A hidden panel slid open beneath the bench. Alia dropped inside just as the front door buzzed. 3 clicks. A pause. Then boom. The door didn't break. But they weren't trying to break it. They were testing his response time. Dale stood still. Another click. This time, the door slid open on its own. Not forced, access granted. Dale's eyes narrowed. They hacked his system. In walked 2 figures, dressed in smooth black armor, faces covered by glowing masks. Not human. Not fully, at least. One spoke in a flat tone. Citizen Dale, 47. This zone is under scan. You are ordered to remain neutral. A fugitive has passed through this sector. Have you seen her? Dale didn't blink. I've seen rats. Broken drones. Dust. No contact with unauthorized bio-units? He shook his head once. Only silence. The second figure scanned the room. His mask beeped softly near the wall, where the orb once floated. Your system ran a scan 12 hours ago, the soldier said. Subject data was read. You are withholding information. Dale's voice dropped lower. I scan every life form that walks near my door. That doesn't mean I invite them inside. The soldier stepped closer. You were once military. You were built to follow code. That code was shut down, Dale said. Like the war. A long pause. The figures exchanged no words, but something passed between them. Then the lead figure took out a small silver disc. He placed it on Dale's table. It began glowing. If we return and the fugitive is found here, he said coldly, you'll be marked hostile. Dale said nothing. He watched them leave. The door slid shut. Silence. He waited a full minute before tapping the panel. The floor opened. Alia crawled out, shaking. They could have found me, she said. They will, he replied. What do we do now? He turned to the window. The sky outside had turned red with early dawn, but it wasn't sunlight. It was heat from the tracking drones. We run, he said. But first, he walked to the far wall and removed a panel. Behind it, a metal case hummed softly. He opened it. Inside, a small chip, glowing. He turned to her. This might show us who made you. And why? Alia stared at it. And if I don't want to know? He looked her in the eye. For once, his voice softened. Then they win. She didn't recognize the place. Cold metal walls, broken screens, rusted pipes humming quietly. The air smelled like burned plastic and old electricity. Alia sat on a low bench in the underground room, staring at the glowing chip in Dale's hand. This chip, he said, was buried in a dead zone, a war lab. I never touched it. Until now. He walked to an old machine, a flat, square table with thick wires, and inserted the chip. Lights flickered. The table came to life. A hologram rose slowly, fuzzy at first, then clear. It was a woman's face. Not just any woman. Alia gasped. That's me. Dale narrowed his eyes. No, that's the original. The woman in the image looked like Alia, but older, calmer. Her voice began to play. Project 09 log. If you're seeing this, I failed. She's out there now. She looks like me. But she's not a weapon. She's a bridge. The last chance to fix what we broke. The voice cracked at the end. Then the image vanished. Alia stood up, her chest tight. I was cloned from her? Dale nodded slowly. You weren't made to fight. You were made to connect. Your blood holds a code that links to old world systems, power grids, machines, people. Alia turned away. I don't want that. I didn't ask to be made. No one does, Dale replied. Not in war. She looked at him. Why did she do it? The original. Why copy herself? He paused. She was one of the top peace architects. She believed in rebuilding, not fighting. But when the cities turned on each other, she knew no one would listen to her. So she made me, Alia said quietly, to carry her voice. He nodded. But something went wrong, he added. Someone betrayed her. The project was shut down. All the clones were erased. Except you. Alia sat down again. Her hands were shaking. I've never felt real, she whispered. Now I know why. Dale looked at her, his voice steady. You are real. You bleed. You think. You chose to run instead of hurt anyone. That makes you more real than most. Suddenly, the wall screen lit up again. This time, no soldiers. No warnings. Just a symbol. A wolf's head, made of silver lines. Dale stiffened. That's not government, he said. That's worse. Who is it? Alia asked. He didn't answer right away. Then, they're called the Harvesters. Private hunters. Paid to capture high-value biotargets. They don't ask questions. They don't leave witnesses. Alia stood. How did they find us? He looked at her with hard eyes. They didn't. They found you. She took a step back. What does that mean? Dale pulled a mirror from the wall and pointed to her neck. A small red dot blinked under her skin. Almost invisible. Tracker, he said. Planted deep. Maybe from the lab. Maybe from the day you escaped. Alia reached for it. Can you remove it? He opened a drawer and pulled out a tiny, cold tool. Yes, but it will hurt. I don't care, she said. Do it. 10 minutes later, it was done. Dale crushed the tracker under his boot. Now they'll only find ashes. But Alia still looked nervous. So what now? He picked up a small device from his shelf. A square card, old tech, burned at the edges. This lab you saw in the vision? It's real. I know where it is. Why go back? She asked. Because the full truth is still there, he replied. Maybe the original's backup mind, maybe more. Alia nodded slowly. Then let's go. Dale looked at her closely. You sure? No, she admitted. But I don't want to keep running. Not until I know who I really am. He smiled just barely. The first time. Good. He handed her a jacket. She put it on. And together, they walked into the dark tunnels below the city, toward a past that refused to stay buried. The train wasn't supposed to move. It had rusted in place years ago, buried deep beneath the old city in an abandoned tunnel. But tonight it came alive. Power hummed through its rails. Sparks danced across its sides. Engines groaned, like something ancient was waking up from a long, angry sleep. Inside, Dale sat in the front cabin, silent, focused. He watched old blueprints on a cracked screen, maps of underground routes that no longer existed. Behind him, Alia stood by the window, staring into the dark. We're going to the lab? She asked. Dale nodded. If it's still standing, the answers will be there. And if it's not, then we're already dead. The train shook as it pushed through the forgotten tunnels. Water dripped from the ceiling. Faint echoes filled the space, like whispers chasing them through the dark. Alia held the jacket tighter around her. She was changing. Each hour, something new pulsed beneath her skin. Memories, senses, flashes of languages she never learned. Her eyes had started to glow faintly in the dark. And when she touched metal, it hummed back. She didn't feel human, but she didn't feel machine either. Just in between. You're quiet, Dale said suddenly. I'm scared, she replied. Good. That means you still have something to lose. The train slowed. They had arrived. The lab was hidden beneath a frozen valley. A dome of broken glass and steel stretched above it like a dead flower. Machines were scattered across the ground, burnt out, half buried in ice. But one door still stood. Dale walked ahead, his weapon drawn. Alia followed, her boots crunching over ice and bones. They reached the door. No keypad, no scanner, just a metal plate. Alia stepped forward. Without thinking, she touched it. The door opened instantly. Dale looked at her. You really are the key. Inside, the lab was silent. Dark walls, empty halls, screens frozen mid-code, chairs turned over. No bodies, but the air still smelled of fear. Alia walked ahead slowly, pulled by something invisible. They reached the central chamber. In the center stood a glass pod, cracked, empty. But next to it was another orb, like the one in Dale's home, but larger, glowing gold. As Alia stepped close, it activated. A female voice spoke, clear, sad, and familiar. Hello, Subject 09. This is Dr. Ellera, your source. The hologram appeared again. This time her full body. The same woman from the chip. The original. If you are seeing this, I am gone. But you live. That means our plan worked. You were not made to fight. You were made to feel. Your blood carries the empathy code, a living signal that can connect minds, repair systems, heal divides. But it can also be used. She paused. As a weapon. Alia stared, shaking. I don't want that. Dale stepped closer. But others do. They will come for you, the voice continued. They will try to turn you into a controller. Puppet queen. Promise power. Offer lies. If that time comes, remember this. You are not just data. You are choice. The hologram faded. Silence returned. Then a sound. Footsteps. Not Dale's. Not hers. From the hallway. Dale raised his weapon. Alia stepped back. A voice echoed. You finally woke her up. Out of the shadows walked a tall woman. Dark coat, silver hair, metal arms. Dale whispered, Sora. Alia looked at him. You know her? She was my friend, Dale said. She died. Sora smiled coldly. Not quite. She looked at Alia. I've been waiting for you, 09. You don't belong to peace. You belong to control. And I know exactly how to use you. Alia took a step back. I won't go with you. You don't have to, Sora replied. You'll come to me. Sooner or later. You'll feel the power inside you. And you'll want to use it. Dale stepped in front of Alia. Over my dead body. Sora tilted her head. If that's what it takes. She raised her arm. Energy crackled in her palm. And then the lights exploded. The lab plunged into chaos. The light shattered like glass. Not the blast wave ripped through the lab chamber. Blinding white. This silence felt heavy. Sparks rained like the world was holding its breath. Pipes burst. Sarah noticed the birds like angry ghosts. The wind dropped to the floor. Even the fire beside her had burned down. Dale shielded her with his own coals, absorbing the shock with his reinforced body. Who was staring toward the distant hill. When the smoke cleared, his face had changed. Sora was gone. Not angry. Her message remained. Not afraid. On the far wall, alert, in burning letters made of scorched metal. He didn't answer. 3 words had been carved. Then the sound came. You can't hide. A soft hum. They didn't speak for a long time. Low. The lab's mechanical had gone dark. Military. The hologram was gone. Ignoring the pain in her leg. Outside, from beyond the tree line, the red storm rolled in over the valley. 3 human transports beneath it. 6 soldiers in full gear. Dale sat on the floor, 2 drones hovering back against the wall. And at the front, the empty pod. A tall woman Alia sat across from him. She wore no helmet. Pale. Her face was sharp. She knew you. Unreadable. Alia said finally. Leo sighed. Dale didn't respond. Colonel Reeve. You Captain called Walker. Her a friend. She said as she stopped a few feet away. Alia stood and walked over to him. To Sarah. Her voice was soft, but the rumors were true. Tell me what happened. Didn't know there were rumors. Dale slowly turned his head. You didn't report the part of the peace team, she said. Like your source. That's desertion of the woman you were cloned. You know that. She didn't report her. Leo said calmly. She believed because she wasn't a threat. She said empathy could reprogram the world. She's an alien soldier. Then why? She's a child. She lost her sister in a border raid. After Sarah stood straighter. She stopped. I didn't come to spy. In kindness. I didn't even mean to survive. Then added. Reeve looked at her control. Your kind doesn't need to mean it. Thought peace survival was just a prettier form of slavery. Leo stepped forward. So she turned against the program? Reeve raised an eyebrow. Did she now? When her people came back, they left the lab that night. The air outside was colder now. Let them kill me. Thinner. Something in the sky was wrong. Reeve turned her eyes to Sarah. Like the stars were missing. They followed an old path that led to a hidden substation when he had every reason to. The soldiers behind Reeve broken shelter among them set up a small camp. She raised a hand. The lights were dim, silencing them. The silence heavy. This is a war. Alia sat by the heater, not a kindness staring at her hands. Leo, they want to use me, she said. Then maybe that's the government. For a second, Dale looked at her. Then Reeve pointed to Sarah. I don't know. She's coming with us, she whispered. Leo stepped I was made for something I didn't choose. No, she's not. Everyone wants to choose protecting her? He didn't answer. Over your duty, he walked to a crate protecting and pulled the only thing I've seen in this war that gives me hope. This has something else, to her men, he said. Arrest him. Old mission logs. 2 soldiers moved forward. Voice. Sarah didn't hesitate. Recorded. She stepped between them. Alia took it. She held up both hands. Why show me this? If he goes, because you need to know what you're capable of. I go too. Not just what they say you are. What? She nodded. I'm Valari. Then inserted the crystal into a small
You think I'm
reader.
dangerous?
A voice played.
That I'm a threat?
Not a recording.
Fine.
A message.
Take me.
Meant for
But
her.
you take me instead.
Alia, let
If you're
him go.
hearing
this, you're still
Leo's
alive.
voice broke
That
slightly.
means you haven't chosen
Sarah,
yet.
that's
No,
good.
She
Keep it
said,
that way.
Not looking
It was
at
Sora's
him.
voice,
You
but
gave me a
younger,
choice. Softer.
You saved me.
Before the
You
war
listened.
changed her.
No one
They'll
else
all
ever
tell you
did.
what you are.
Reeve laughed
Clone.
once.
Weapon.
You think we negotiate with
But here's
aliens?
the truth.
No.
None of that
Sarah
matters
said.
if you stop
But
thinking
maybe
for yourself.
You listen
Even
to
I
your
can't
own.
force you.
She turned
but
to
I
the
can
soldiers.
warn you.
You
the
follow
moment you
orders,
use your full
right?
power,
Even if they're wrong,
you won't ever be the same.
youngest soldier
Alia
hesitated.
closed her eyes.
Reeve stepped
the message
forward.
ended.
Enough.
Later that night,
She drew her
as
sidearm.
Dale ran
You
diagnostics
both want
on
to
his
die for
broken
this
arm.
lie?
Alia
Sarah
walked
looked down the
outside
barrel
the
of the
shelter.
gun.
Snowflakes
Heart
fell
pounding.
like ash.
She didn't move.
She held her hand
I'm
up.
not afraid of
The
you.
snow
she
didn't
said.
touch it.
Not
It
anymore.
melted midair.
The gun
She
trembled
was changing.
slightly.
Leo
Something
stood
inside her
beside
was
her
waking
now.
up. No weapon.
Something huge,
No shield.
ancient,
Just
and
presence.
deeply wired into
You'll
the
have
world
to shoot
itself.
us both.
She looked
He
up.
said.
In
Reeve's
the sky,
hand twitched.
several red
Then,
dots blinked.
One of the soldiers
Drones.
lowered his
She
weapon.
ran back inside.
Then another.
We have
Then
to go.
another.
She
You
said.
said we fight
Now.
monsters.
Dale stood
The
up.
young soldier said
What did you
softly.
see? But
They're
she's not a
close.
monster.
Sora's not
You are.
waiting anymore.
Reeve's eyes
He didn't
went
ask
wide.
how she knew.
You. He trusted her
But
now.
by then,
they
her
packed
command
quickly.
had vanished.
But just as
She
they
was
stepped
alone.
outside,
She lowered her
a
gun
voice
slowly.
echoed behind
This
them.
isn't over.
Going somewhere?
She hissed.
Alia froze.
No.
Sora
Leo
stood
said.
at the edge
But
of the
it's
cliff.
changing.
But she
Reeve
wasn't
walked
alone.
away without
Two more
another word.
cyborgs stood
Her
beside
boots
her.
crushed the fallen
fully
leaves
armored,
like broken promises. Silence returned.
Dale raised his
Sarah
weapon.
collapsed to her knees.
You followed us.
shaking.
No.
Leo caught her.
Sora said.
You didn't have
She
to do
called
that.
me.
He
She
said.
looked directly
I did.
at Alia. She
You're
whispered.
not running anymore,
Because
are
for
you?
once,
You're waking
I
up.
chose what I
You
became.
feel it. And
Alia's
for the
heart
first time,
pounded.
She wasn't
Yes,
caught between two
she
worlds.
whispered.
She
But
was
I'm not
building
going
a new
with
one.
you.
Sora smiled. You don't have to. She snapped her fingers. A red beam hit Dale in the chest. He dropped. Alia screamed. Sora stepped forward, calm. You want truth? This is it. Everyone close to you will fall. Alia dropped to her knees, hands glowing. Snow melted in waves around her. The ground shook. I told you, Sora whispered. Use it. Everything slowed down. Alia couldn't hear the wind. She couldn't hear her heartbeat. She only heard one sound, Dale's body hitting the snow. Hard. Final. His coat burned at the chest. His metal arm twitched once. Then stopped. Alia screamed. But no sound came from her mouth. Her hands glowed, bright gold, like fire trapped in glass. Her skin pulsed with waves of raw energy. Sora stood in front of her, calm, cold. Two silent soldiers flanked her, weapons ready. Now you understand, Sora said. Love is weakness. Emotion is a leash. You have the code to control minds, systems, armies. You can wipe out every lab that tried to erase you. Alia trembled. I never asked for this, she whispered. You were made for this, Sora said. Don't waste it on grief. Alia looked down at Dale. Smoke rose from his chest. But his face looked peaceful. Not angry, not afraid, just tired. She remembered the first night, the rain, her broken voice, his quiet answer, rest first. He could have taken advantage. He could have turned her in. But he gave her warmth, kindness. That's what saved her. That's what woke her up. Alia looked at her glowing hands. She could feel Sora's mind. She could shut it off, melt her down into silence. The power whispered to her, strike, win, erase the threat. But she didn't move. Instead, she knelt beside Dale and placed her hands on his chest. Sora raised her arm. Don't waste that power on a corpse. But the light from Alia's hands spread. Not in rage, not in attack, but in warmth. Gold threads wrapped around Dale's body. Energy moved inward, not to destroy, to heal. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a heartbeat, faint, but real. Dale's eyes opened. Slowly. His voice was weak. You used it. She smiled through her tears. Not to kill. Sora screamed. Fool. You could have ended me. Alia stood up. I still can. She walked forward, glowing brighter with every step. Sora aimed her weapon. Then do it. Finish it. But Alia didn't strike. She raised her hand,
and shut down the weapons in Sora's soldiers with a single blink. Their systems fizzled and dropped. Sora was alone now. Alia stood inches from her. "You think power means control," Alia said softly. "But real power is what you choose not to do." Sora tried to raise her arm, but Alia touched her wrist gently, and Sora's body froze. Not in pain. In memory. A vision passed through her mind. A child's voice. Laughter. Her sister. A day before the war. A life before rage. Sora dropped to her knees. Alia stepped back. "I forgive you," she said. Sora looked up, tears in her mechanical eyes, then vanished into the snow without another word. Dale leaned on Alia's shoulder as they walked through the cold. The storm had passed. Drones no longer circled. The skies had gone quiet. They reached a ridge overlooking the dead city. Below, buildings still stood. Broken, but standing. Alia stared out. "I don't know what comes next." Dale looked at her. "That's the best part." 1 week later, the lab was gone, shut down by Alia's own code. But the signal she left behind traveled farther than any weapon. Across the old grid, systems reactivated. Sleepers woke. Old bots turned helpers. Drones stopped hunting. Some even began rebuilding. In distant sectors, children born in shelters looked up as the skies turned clear for the first time. A simple message echoed across open networks. "I am not your weapon. I am your warning. I could have destroyed you, but I chose to let you live. So now choose better." Subject 09. Final scene. Inside a small cabin outside the old city, Alia sat by a window, writing in a small notebook. Dale entered, carrying tea. "You're writing a message to the future?" he asked. "No," she said with a smile. "To myself. So I don't forget." "Forget what?" She looked up at him. "That when someone offers kindness, even in a broken world, it changes everything."